Hey, it's Molly. Welcome back as we continue to look at the stelliums for each astrology sign. Here we have a super stellium for Sagittarius energies. This chart is dated December 3rd, 1983, and we're going to discuss what this could mean for those who have a lot of Sagittarius in their chart. First of all, if you do have a lot of Sag, you're probably not sitting right now. You're probably walking or dancing. So thank you for paying attention to the video here. But in this stellium, we can see there's Moon, Uranus, Sun, Jupiter, Neptune, and Mercury. Wow, what a lineup. And I want to note that here we have these three outer planets in Sag. So Uranus, Jupiter, and Neptune, all in this sign, are very important for how the Sagittarius energy is here to experience this life. Big seeker, ready for adventure, big traveler, but not necessarily physically, but a traveler of the spiritual realms, having big chapters in one's life, a sense of, I did this for 5 years, I did that for 7 years. There could have been, a very intense learning phases as well, because the curiosity of Sagittarius wants to understand and know more. So this is a collector of life experiences and someone who's here to have many of them. And each life experience, each theme provides areas of growth and perhaps could feel like, oh, that was one version of me. That was, 14 years ago. I'm a whole new different version of myself now because I've been learning and growing so much since then. So with this chart of the lineup in Sag here, where to start? This Uranus working with the Sun. Uranus is a free spirit. I'll go my own way, go my own path, come what may, I'll figure it out. The ultimate free spirit here that does need more room and space than your average person. And so Uranus is the desire to always have something exciting to pursue or understand. There's not a desire for consistency. This is someone who wants to move and change apartments, who wants to have different jobs, who wants to see what else they can discover or explore, and who doesn't want to be told what to do. So we have that strong entrepreneurial energy with this Uranus in Sag conjunct the Sun. And this is even someone who is always going to have their own opinions and thoughts, and they really don't care what others think. I mean, this is a very over-the-top energy. Lots of extremes here with this particular Sagittarius, okay? So the extremes show up in one's life, being over the top, doing things to the point of deep regret at times. There can be a lot of exaggeration and amplification. This could be just always being in the school of hard knocks if that Sagittarius energy is not learning. Because when the learning occurs, when things click, there's a sense of, oh, I got it. That's the pattern. That's the part of me that went too far, or that's what I was locked into, and now I see it. So there's high highs and low lows with strong Sagittarius energy. And I was just thinking, like, yes, obviously in this chart we have 6 planets in Sag. But I would say if there are, even if there's just these 4 planets in Sag, the outer planets, it's going to bring up the same themes. So again, this is in 1983, and so if you have Uranus, Jupiter, and Neptune in Sagittarius, even if you don't have the Sun in Sagittarius, you have this stellium in Sag of the bigger life experiences that lead you higher. That's always what the archer is about, going higher. But you also need ways of seeing the details and the particulars. And that does show up, at least here in this chart from 1983, where the North Node is in Gemini, which is about being aware of the details, the questions, what to review, what to make sure you didn't forget, to ensure that you're asking questions and listening, to make sure that, your mind is actively seeking and integrating information, and that it's not just always out the door and onto the next plane. So the Uranus in Sag energy wants to do its own thing without restriction, without answering to anyone, without having to phone home and check in. And then you have the ruling planet here in Sagittarius. And this means that there is a need to follow what is calling to you, because that's where the good things show up. And so you are meant to read and travel and understand. You are meant to go into other cultures, to be someone who's actively aware of what's going on around you, as well as in the world at large. And this Jupiter in Sag is a protective force field, that you are, in fact, guided and protected as you travel and as you trust what you are meant to pursue. Sagittarius is mutable fire, which is the need to keep moving, go further, check out what's over there. It can be quite restless, doesn't want to sit. Sagittarius is the long distance runner. I think of the Tuareg tribe, and I believe it's Northern Africa. The Tuareg tribe that are the ones who go long distances and who are equipped to do so. The protective energy of this Jupiter in Sag is giving you ongoing optimism and a sense of, I know I'm on the right path when I'm moving with wherever I'm pointing my inspired arrow. And so there also needs to be an understanding that you're here to have an independent life. And you're here to be free roaming, perhaps non-committal in many areas of life. And there could be a part of you that never wants to get bored and never wants to slow down because there's too much to do and check out and experience. And this is meant to be honored. This can also be misunderstood by other people, which is true for all of these extreme stelliums that I'm focusing on. They are misunderstood because here you have a masterclass in the Sagittarius energy, and you are meant to follow the bigger questions. You're meant to have multiple life stages and even follow maybe multiple spiritual paths, especially with this Neptune. 28 of Sag conjunct this Mercury, you are guided by a bigger spiritual navigation system. And when this is honored, when this Neptune conjunct Mercury in Sag is beautifully honored, I'm seeing this energy open up through the crown chakra. And there's a sense of, I know what I have to do when I have to do it. But the thing with the Sag energy is that it's hard to stop. Because you're like, well, I've always got to keep going. There's always the next thing. There's always something beyond the next fence. But there's also going to be times in your life when you have to trust the red lights and the yellow lights. But you don't. You just barge right through. And you're like, no, I'm going to do it my own way. This can be a very opinionated and highly righteous. I have the answers. I know what's best. I'm going to do what I want to do when I want to do, which can be beautifully independent and powerful. But it would also be important to review and look back in hindsight. Okay, where did I push the river? Because part of what this Neptune in Sag conjunct Mercury wants you to do is to trust the river, not force it. And so when it means to slow down, that's for a beautiful reason. When it's time to pick up the pace and accelerate, that's for a beautiful reason. But too much fire is going to override things. It's going to be like, I'll do it my way and I'm not going to slow down at all. And with these outer planets here, the outer planets do dominate. And they have a bigger energy consciousness. So you're working with a lot of energy. You're working with more than your average person. You're holding a lot. You could physically feel it in your body. You could be feeling like you're holding a lot of weight, a lot of water weight, a lot of energy, and you want to move faster than the body can move at times, or maybe you're trying to recalibrate that so that you can flow this energy through you. Because again, I feel like the Sagittarius Archer is meant to flow the energy down and then release it back up into the cosmos. And then that's how you also get refueled by the next inspirational vision or idea or calling. So you need a way of always moving the energy through, but trusting this Neptune. And where that Neptune says, it is okay to dial it down, you're not going to miss anything. And that can be part of the unconscious programming of Sagittarius. I've got to get there. I've got to do it. I don't want to miss it. I don't want to not make the boat. And it keeps you moving instead of going higher into Neptune that will make sure the boat waits for you, that things can slow down and it doesn't always have to be at this intense speed of go, go, go. Because all of this dominates the chart. Clearly, when you have 6 planets all in the same sign. Now, we do have over here this Mars and Venus in Libra, which adds that balancing perspective and can bring you into a momentary pause of assessing, should I do this? Is this what I want? Is it worth it? And so this would be a gift to have planets in Libra that can help temper some of the fire, but the fire will dominate. And then you have the 2 planets in Scorpio here, Pluto and Saturn, which bring up the deeper emotional intensities that you're feeling that could drive you. This can be for very good purposes. It can also be sabotage, self-sabotage, or working against you if you are too focused on other people. And in fact, that's something here with the Libra and Scorpio energies, is that there can be too much focus on others, what they're doing, what's going on, what you're feeling, that drives that Sag energy forward. The planets in Scorpio are meant to connect you to your powerful internal self and to develop a deeper relationship. And Saturn brings up the lessons around that, and Pluto brings up the deeper, intense soul contracts and previous lifetime energies that are being held here that need to be transformed in Scorpio. This energy is very intense. So those of you who have the Pluto and Saturn in Scorpio, you know that it brings up a lot within you that can be complicated to figure out. This is also going into your deeper psychology of what you're really feeling underneath it all, because even though Sag is happy-go-lucky, Pollyanna, it's going to be great, everything's going to be great, everything's awesome, there's deeper energies underneath here that do need attention and do need understanding. And so that Saturn and Pluto in Scorpio is a deeper underlining part of yourself that requires a slowdown and requires assistance, help, healing, counseling, therapy, even though Sag is like, never mind that, I'll get my own answers, I'll go my own way. This is bringing you back into even how to develop and create trusting, mutually beneficial relationships with others that are good for your soul and that are good for your heart, no matter where you go, no matter where you roam. So there's a strong focus here in this chart of relational energies. And not only is it in the Libra and the Scorpio energies, but Sag is actually part of the relational section of a chart. And it's, what do we believe together? Are we on the same page? Do we have the same guiding belief systems, the same religion, the same spiritual background or spiritual perspective? Are we on the same growth trajectory? And that can also be a big theme, because it's so important for that Sagittarius energy to be able to discuss bigger picture things with big picture thinkers, and to even keep expanding with new knowledge that they bring to you or that you learn through someone else's cultural background, through their language, through their country. So this brings up, who am I in the world? And who do I relate to in the world? What are our ideologies and philosophies? Are we on the same page? And if we're not on the same page, how can we at least discuss it and talk about it in a way that doesn't turn into being judgmental, being overly opinionated or overly righteous? Again, that goes back to this North Node in Gemini, where you can keep the conversation going even when you disagree or you see things differently. You have different worldviews and perspectives, but you're able to step back and say, but that's okay, because let's consider this, or let's talk about it from this angle, and know that that's also what makes it so interesting, is that we don't have to be on the same page to continue to be in a friendship or be in a connection, knowing that this is a big, huge world. We're all going to have our different belief systems. So how can we find some common ground in a way that is beautiful and loving for both of us? I would say that with all this Sagittarius, there needs to be an outlet for the energy on a daily basis, especially with that moon. That moon in Sag, conjunct Uranus, no less, can be a firecracker. On the move, I'll go to a different coffee shop every day, and sometimes that coffee shop will be in London, sometimes it'll be in Los Angeles, sometimes it'll be in Bangkok. I'll just be all over the place, going about my world and trying to have as many different experiences that give me life and keep me on my toes. Now, there is no Earth in this chart, except for this Chiron at 29 of Taurus. So when there's an element that's lacking and is not strongly represented, typically that individual then pulls in other people who have that element. So this would be perhaps someone who knows earth signs, who has some Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo people in their world that keeps them grounded, who asks them questions that they probably don't like about their budget, their finances, their boundaries. But a lack of the earth signs can bring up issues around money, a sense of, I'll just keep spending. There will always be more. I'll always make more. Part of that Sagittarius optimism. It can bring up a sense of not being rooted, of not being in one place and not wanting to. The earth signs like routine and want to build something. And this could be someone who doesn't desire that. They want variety and different experiences, but perhaps they bring in other individuals who provide that grounding, who have those earth sign qualities, and who give them other perspectives on life and how to live one's life. So a super Sagittarius soul here on the move, always interested in what's going on and what's next and where one can go, and definitely here to have a bigger life path than most. And this is the person who has a lot of stories to tell. They've been a lot of places. They've met a lot of people. They have a lot that they bring back that offers comedy relief, good times, fun, always up for a party, always up to do something that lightens the mood. So Sagittarius energy is a part of the beautiful mosaic of energies in the astrological wheel. And no doubt this is the energy that's here to go bigger, have more, experience the extremes in life, and then also have some great things to bring back and share. Because Sag is also a teacher. And so they can teach you through the stories, teach you through their experiences of what they've learned along the way and what they saw that one time in the New York subway or what happened to them randomly on the street in San Francisco. It's like there's always a story, there's always something going on with the Sagittarius energy. Thank you so much for joining me as I make my way through all 12 astrology signs here with this Stellium series. You can find more of the videos in my YouTube playlists under the Super Stellium playlist. And then there's another playlist that focuses on astrology charts by birth year, where I'm discussing some of the major aspects that happen for many people in certain years. So in that playlist, it's not every birth year, it's just where there's significant aspects that occurred. So as always, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you back here soon.